Hello, this is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen Sr. Okay, I'm only 10 days away from leaving here for my flight to Cairo. Okay, I'll leave on the Monday, on the 16th, and I'll stay in a motel in Charleston for one day. When I get out the following morning, I'll head to the airport. This is it. As far as my team goes, this message is for my team and for the world. My team is waiting on me. My team is Arya, who's had 8 years of college in language. Her degrees are in language. Arya, who has 6 years of college, has a degree in language and in computer graphics. Mulder has 6 years of college. He's a genetic scientist, engineer. Okay, Rolex, he is an engineer. He has a 6 years of college in engineering. Warwick, we had to find him, okay, because anyway, Warwick has 4 years and a master's degree in marketing. This is my team. This is not just my team. This is God's team. I guess I'm part of God's team. I know, not guess. I am part of God's team. I'm the first of those in God's team. I'm the one God's the one that talks to me, and I relay it on to Him. And I don't know, from the very beginning, this thing was put together before I was born, and before they were born. They're involved. Right now, it's what they call Alaquiyama, the last days. Everybody should have expected it. Every religion knows it. Okay? This is the last days. Things are going to change. Now, it's not going to be the apocalypse, nor it's going to be anything bad. This is what's going to happen. When I land in Cairo, I have to get a bank account. In Cairo, I'm going to get an extended visa for 5 years, multiple entry, meaning I could stay 6 months at a time in Egypt, but come back at the end of, make multiple entries during that 5 years, okay? It's costly. It's about $700. Okay, now here's the point. When I get to Cairo, I open the bank account, then I open up the Amazon account. The Amazon account, I will only be selling one product. That's called a GODScoin. It's not really a product. It's a share. People will send in Egypt, it'll be one Egyptian pound per GODScoin. In every country, it'll be like in Burundi, it'll be one Burundian franc. In Congo, it'll be one Congolese franc. In Korea, it'll be a won. In Colombia, South America, it'll be a peso. In Cuba, it'll be a peso. In Italy, it'll be a lira. Okay, so this is the way it works. In the lowest form of paper money, currency, not without making change, this is how much a GODScoin will cost. However, I'm going to guarantee that within 2 months, each GODScoin will be worth $100,000, 100,000 American dollars in value. Okay. So in Egypt, that would be worth 5 million Egyptian pounds, okay? That's within 3 months. Now here's how it's going to work in the beginning. When I sell the Egyptian pound in Egypt, there's 120 million Egyptians in Egypt. So that's 120 million potential customers. Okay? I don't know who's not going to do this, because what GODScoin is a supplemental income. A supplemental income. Besides your own. Stay at work. But make this in the meantime. Just invest your dollars. Go as many GODScoins as you want to buy. If it's 10, you get 10 GODScoin. If it's 100, it's 100. If it's 1,000, yes, 1,000 GODScoin. Okay? Now, each GODScoin has 20 years to use it or lose it. Okay? 20 years. It's good for 20 years. But it's dated, do you understand? So it's non-transferable to anybody. You can't trade it with anybody. Nobody else can use it because it's non-transferable, okay? It belongs in your account. Even if you're a newborn or the oldest person in the world, it makes no difference. That account belongs to you, and that GODScoin is dated. Now, what's going to happen is that day on Amazon, of course, we take it by Amazon charges, and they handle the money, but then it directly comes out of my account. So I can see exactly I know who exactly bought that money, that GODScoin. And I know how many GODScoin they built, right? And it's dated for that day. So by midnight, before midnight, I have to total that day's transactions. I total that transactions, and that's where Aria will use computer graphics to show it on YouTube in graphics. Okay? Now what's going to happen is that graphics is going to show how many GODScoin I sold that day, right? The accumulation of how many of all the GODScoin that they bought. Like I said, they can buy 10, they could buy 1, they could buy 100, they could buy 1,000, okay? Whatever people spend, that's how many GODScoin are that day to that day. By midnight, it will all be added up and then divided by the number of accounts. The only thing I get out of it is the original transaction for $1, and that's to handle the record keeping. Okay, so I potentially I can make $120 million just off of Egypt. Okay, that's a lot of money, so I'm satisfied. Now the rest of the world, you got the GODScoin. Okay, you're keeping the GODScoin, and now what's going to happen is I divide that's whatever I collected that day in GODScoin, and I divide that by the number of accounts, and then I automatically deposit equal shares to each account. You see? So everybody's going to get something back that day. You're going to get something back. I'm not going to say it's going to be more than you paid, but it's going to be something back. You see how it works? Now, I'm not just doing that in one country. I'm doing that in every country. Every country in the world. 195 countries in this world. 9 billion people in this world. So I have potentially 9 billion dollars. You know, Egyptian, whatever your account is, 9 billion potential dollars coming to me. Anyway, it's not about me making money. Okay? It's about you. Because whatever I make anyway, it's actually going to be your money too. But what I do is I invest what I make on your behalf. The businesses I start and everything will go back to paying wages. I'm hiring, I could hire everybody in the world in my banks or in my service stations. I can hire. I'll have over 500 million banks in the world. GODScoin banks. Why? Because we want the banks so close together that nobody has to. They can walk to each bank. It's within walking distance of each thing. I want my banks within walking distance because we do not transfer money electronically. We do not transfer money by paper, mail, or any kinds of ways of that. Everybody personally has to come in and do the transaction. But you'll want to come into my banks. The bank I'm going to be building in Giza, for instance, it's a 3-story building. Okay? On the bottom floor, besides the elevators, is the lobby and the banking. Okay? Well, it's the elevators and restrooms. Then you got the lobby and the banking section. Okay? Now, what I'm guessing at the second floor is going to be again the elevators and the bathrooms, but then there's going to be a restaurant, full restaurant, where the seating area for the restaurant is like in the main lobby on the second floor, and then you have the kitchen that's cooking. On the third floor is going to be, again, the bathrooms and elevators. Then it's going to be a daycare center and nursery. The daycare center and nursery will be separate. Okay? Then the rest of it's going to be the observation floor. My bank in Egypt will actually be Warwick's, the fellow I promised to be the president of. Okay? Warwick's Bank will overlook the pyramids. It'll look at the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx as a view out the windows on the third floor. 5 times a day, the curtains will be pulled to become a mosque, to pray. Okay, that's 5 times a day that simply the curtains get pulled. When a customer comes in, they'll be greeted by at least 10 valets that will take the children to daycare or take everybody to the restaurant to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. They take, like I said, take the children upstairs into the nursery or the daycare to take you to banking if you don't want to eat, or after you eat, whatever you want to do first. While your car is being washed, detailed, fueled up, waxed, buffed, and then filled up and detailed. That's all that'll happen for free at my bank. So I guess if you want a restaurant meal, not just one, but you could have 2 or 3. It doesn't make no difference. All the food is free. Everything that happens to your car is free. All the fuel is free. Everything's free. And that's an enjoyable day at my bank in Giza, the headquarter bank. Now, you see what I'm saying? My banks are going to be different than any bank. We are, even myself, I am a servant. I am a servant. I'm God's servant first. Okay? But I'm also a servant of the people. Now, I am I'm a martial artist, but not a good one now because I'm not young anymore, okay? When I was in martial arts and before I went into the service, I had 3 years martial arts training before I went to the service. I was, I guess, pretty good, okay? I earned a purple belt in what they call Karaho Kempo, okay? Karaho Kempo is a lot different than any other karate, okay? But the thing about it is, I knew martial arts. I've known how to shoot for many years. I don't own any guns, but I do know how to shoot, okay? I've been a paramedic, and I will think that's what I'm going to require of all the people that work for me. All my people will be certified police, will be certified paramedics, and they'll be martial artists. All my employees will learn will learn martial arts on a daily basis. Once a month, they'll be going to police academies or military facilities, and they'll learn to shoot, and they'll also learn to become paramedics. After a year, 3 weekends a month during the year, to become a certified police officer, to become a certified paramedic. Now, what I'm saying, telling you all this is, you can be sure that none of my people would ever have an attitude thinking they're to intimidate somebody or to be rude to somebody or think we are servants. Exactly what we're going to be. This world's going to change. I'm going to change because everybody in this world is going to become a voter that's 18 years old. Anybody that has an account, you're 18 years old, you're going to be a voter. So what politician is going to get out of line with a puffy attitude to steal your property? No, they're not. Nobody's taking anybody's property. Nobody's paying taxes. Okay? That's one big change in the world, and that's because voters are going to follow not the rules of the world and the law that exists today, but God's law. This whole world belongs to God. We are caretakers of the world. We're not owners of this world. We're caretakers of this world. From the very beginning, that's what Adam and Eve were given, that job, as caretakers. If God's given you a piece of property, He didn't give you that to own. He's allowed you to stay, but nobody's had the right to come take your home. You have a God-given right to stay on that property, to own that, to live there, right? But you still don't own the property. God owns that property. It's got to make sense to you. Now, this has got to make sense to you, too, that you want to know where God is? God lives inside us. Everybody. Along with your unborn children, along with your DNA, which is a whole lot of people, all your ancestors and everybody live in your DNA. All the way back to Adam and Eve, in fact, live inside your DNA. So guess what I'm trying to tell you is, people, this world's going to change and wake up. Now, my police officers are not going to shoot for the head and chest to kill you. It's going to shoot for your hands and feet. In the old days, had a Western person been a gunslinger, a gunfighter, and come into town, he's not to just start killing people. First time he tries, he's going to get his hands shot, his feet shot, so he can't. Well, he's going to have his hands shot anyway, so he can never harm anybody else with a gun. He won't be able to pull the trigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing in Carter that we learn is to disable the person's hands and feet. We break them. I can break hands finger by finger or wrist and anything else. I just learned that. Right? That's where we roll. It used to be an illegal type of martial arts. In fact, it is if they do continue on with that kind of training. But it's illegal now. What's illegal now is not going to be illegal when people start to vote, because it's going to be necessary. What we do is we stop a fight. There's no what they call second strike. There's no fight because it can't be a second strike. Either I make the first strike or you make the first strike, but we don't allow a second strike. So there is no fight. We don't sit there and kickbox with somebody. We don't even let you get a stance. Okay? This is the point that I'm trying to make in this video. Now this is coming true right now. Within 10 days, I'm flying there in Cairo. Before the end of this month, before February is over, I will have my GODScoin on on Amazon selling it. I just got to do is go there, open the account, and then as soon as I get the account open, put it on Amazon, and immediately we're selling. Now, how many we're going to sell? Like I said, when you pay your money in, you're going to make money. Something I'm going to redeposit every day by how many God's coins are being sold. You're going to be making money. What lottery or what form of gambling is a sure thing? This is. To top it off, at the end of a month, understand this, people in the United States, you have 25 days to buy God's coin for $1 each. After $25, after 1 month, they go up to 100,000 apiece. You understand how it works? Now the world, do you understand how it works? We are blackmailing the United States, and we're blackmailing every country, because we could, with the possibility of everybody, like the potential of Egypt is 120 million. The potential of the United States is 340 million, okay? But you see, this 340 million people are going to have to pay $100,000 per God's coin a month later. So everybody in the United States better wake up and buy the God's coin while they're $1 a piece. Now, does that make sense? That goes for you, Elon Musk. That goes for you, Jeff Bezos. That goes for you, Satoshi Nakamoto. But God's got a different deal for Satoshi Nakamoto. That's when, as soon as God's coin gets to $100,000, he's going to offer for Bitcoin a trade. I've given them 10 God's coin per Bitcoin. Now, normally I would say only one, because, recently Bitcoin's gone down to 88, gone down to $8,000. I mean, $800,000. Anyway, I don't understand. I'll have to look everything up again. But the idea is, there'll be a different trade with Satoshi Nakamoto. But the big thing is, this is going to happen, and everybody in this world, God's coin's designed as a supplemental income for everybody in this world, to make it fair. But it's not really meant just to be a supplemental income. It's the income. It's going to be the one world currency. As every country, it's not going to be just a one world currency. You're still going to have the lira. You're still going to have the French franc. You're going to still have francs. You're going to have pesos. You're going to have yuan. You're going to have luan, renminbi. You're going to have rupees. All these different types of currencies you're still going to have. But they're going to be backed by God's coin. Backed by God's coin. Real money. Because when you turn these things into God's coin, it becomes God's responsibility and my responsibility. I am a sole proprietor. I do not have partners. I do not have anybody else in my ministry. God's living ministry stands alone. There's no other ministers. There's no committees. There's nothing. There's just God and myself. God and I are the only ones. This is what I'm trying to tell everybody. God or Allah or whichever name you give him. I don't know. I guess it's Yahweh is the Jewish representative. I know they spell it HWYH. Yahweh. Okay? What I'm saying is that's God's name in Jewish. The Jewish believe the Messiah is coming in the end days. And he is. He's right here. Okay? Islam believes in the Mahdi. Same as the Messiah coming. Right here. The rest of the world, like Christians, okay, I'm called a peacemaker. I'm here. 10 days. What we are is to restore God sent to restore the peace and justice to this world. Not man-made rules, not that justice. Because from the beginning, every bully, every thug, every syndicate, everybody that, king, royalty, they created their own position, and they took and killed people, run out their homes, taxed the people. They stole the land, and they formed their governments, and they made their own rules. They appointed themselves judges and jury and executioners. Killing and religion have no place being spoken the same language. Jews are killing. By what authority did they kill? They were given the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. Yet they're killing. They also initiated the killing this time, the genocide. In Palestine, I know I was there in 2024. I was hospitalized in 2024 in Palestine. I was put in Jerusalem. I was even arrested at the airport in Jerusalem. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I've been through a lot. I was arrested as a spy because I had too many stamps for going to Egypt, through Jordan, and Palestine. Just the stamps alone in my passport were enough to keep me, to lock me up. And they also rejected my passport, put a stamp in it that it was no good ever to go that way again. Otherwise, I would be in prison. I still had that passport. I'm not afraid to use it. It's good to 2035. But however, it would get me in prison if I use it anywhere close to Israel as a spy, because Egypt's definitely an enemy of Israel. Jordan is not an enemy, but it's not a friend. They're suspected, they don't put up with the Israelis enough to be friendly. They don't trust. Israel does not trust Jordan because there's too many people go between them. Anyway, do you understand what I'm saying? They have good reason. I mean, it's got very good reason to lock me up. I mean, of course I look like a spy. The thing about it is, for instance, Hamas. Hamas is part of Palestine. It's the screwed up part of Palestine. It's the army. They call themselves a religion, but yet they kill in the name of Allah. Okay? The same with Hezbollah. And the Jews kill in the name of Allah. Allah said, thou shalt not kill. But Allah God lives in everybody. So in order to kill, you gotta kill God first. Then you're killing the unborn. Then you're killing everybody in your DNA. So how can that be related to God? How can any religion claim God if they're going to be killing? How can any religion claim to be to know God if they're stealing, or if it's thy will be done, God's will be done. That's the sum of every religion, even if it's only written in the Bible. That's the sum of it all. God's will be done. It never has been done. Man's done his own will and took over God's world. And God's going to get it back by his people. By GODScoin. That's what this whole thing's all about. The only thing that everybody has in common in this whole world is God. I mean, the fact that we're all alive and breathing, yes, that's in common. But the one factor is that we have mostly in common is God. What's the difference between us and any in a robot? God. The fact that we can think, breathe. God lives in us. God lives, has this ability to think. Not just like A and I, because we have a memory. In fact, the memory has nothing to do with thinking. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It's a filing cabinet. That's all. But your emotions, your sex drive, your dreams, your hopes, your desires, the ability to figure things out or to think comes from God. This is a God-given thing. You guys want to know exactly where that comes from? It's called the pineal gland in your brain. Is where all that stuff comes from, your emotions, your sex drive. Everything comes from this one gland where God actually abides inside us. Animals have it too. Every living plant, even trees, plants. We don't realize that. At least I don't know that for a fact, but I do. I kind of believe that's the way I believe. I mean, I do know that for a fact because that's what God told me. So I was about ready to get off on the wrong tangent because now God, like I said, He talks to me. I don't understand why He doesn't talk to you, or you're not listening to Him. I never suspected that. I don't think God suspected that either. Okay, I'm going to let you go from here. Yeah, you all know about GODScoin coming. It'll be there before the end of the month. Before February is over, it'll be on Amazon. It'll be for sale. It'll be for the whole world to buy as many GODScoin as you can every day. And every day I said they'll be added up and they'll be shared. Whatever was made off of GODScoin will be shared between how many accounts there are. Then that's going to be put on graphics, on video, starting on YouTube. But it won't be long if millions and billions start showing up, and it won't be long before it turns into, it's on TV, it's on the radio, it's on, the free press, the media throughout the world, and the first thing talked about, because this world's going to transform in months, in weeks, in days. It's going to transform so fast. We don't even have a year, people. You don't have a year. You only have months, even days, to decide. And when that day comes, I mean, it's like when I start selling GODScoin, take advantage of it. Be ready. Buy the GODScoin. Everybody that's in my team, like I said, their degrees in language and things, they're going to be writing my books. All the books I have like 15 books. They'll be writing them in English and in Arabic, and then put them back on Amazon for sale in Cairo. So they're English, Arabic, and Egyptian. So they're going to, they're going to also be teaching me Egyptian and Arabic. Probably how to speak better too in English. Yet, so I have a whole new life ahead of me. So do you. Everybody in this world. I could quit this right now, but the truth is, I love everybody. I don't want to abandon anybody, and I love God especially. What I'm telling you is, this is the reason I do this. I can't stop. I can't not do this. This is the reason. Would I making money like that $1 off of every sale of God's coin, which I'll make $9 billion? That's going to be reinvested too into my own businesses. Those businesses don't belong to me because I don't want a profit. That's part of you. That's what I'm paying wages for. I am going to create. I have 250 banks to build. 250 million banks to build. On the same street, on the same next door to every bank will be a service station. A service station that will sell gas, will sell oil, but they'll also be ready to sell hydrogen. Hydrogen, oxygen, and what they call and liquid nitrogen. Okay? They'll be ready to sell things that aren't in other places, because another business I'm going to have started is building hydrogen engines for every car to fit every car in the throughout the world. Every car made throughout the world to make hydrogen engines. When the engines are finished and made and created, they'll be free to everybody to be retrofitted into your car as long as it's a new model. That's what's going to happen. Everybody will be running on hydrogen. I mean, I don't say every car, because you're still going to have your muscle cars that run on gas. You're still going to have your muscle cars that run on mixed fuels. All those things, fuels and stuff, will be available at my stations. But you always have the muscle cars, because everybody will be millionaires. And the GODScoin will be worth $100,000. We're forcing this world to pay that much money for the GODScoin. That's the rich people. There's $775 trillion in this world. Now, the United States owes $39 trillion, right at 38-something trillion dollars, okay? That's one reason why they're getting punished by having to pay $100,000 in GODScoin. I mean, they got to pay off their national debt. They're not the richest country in the world. They're actually the poorest country in the world. They're more in debt than any other country in this world. Even China's, you think China's in debt? No. China owes $26 trillion. But most of that debt they have accumulated was from Pakistan because of the Pakistan wars with India and stuff. But when these countries, when you turn out to have, when you're adding 6 billion new voters to this world, what person's going to have the authority to go to war? Who's going to make the decision to go to war? They ain't. Who's going to make the decision to collect data? Data collection's gone. It's all history. It's never going to happen again. The transfer of data and the destruction of data is going to happen. Even criminals will be given a second chance, other than their current sentences, which will be reviewed, right? They all get out and they got a free slate. There's nothing in there that will be in their history showing what they've done because of GODScoin, and they can go earn the GODScoin. Once you're out of this, done your time and done your thing, you're free. Second chance. You go make GODScoin. Everybody in this world that works for me will become a peacemaker. A peacemaker, a Mahdi, or Messiah. These are the things that are going to happen very, very soon. Actually, before the world can think. That's how God works. The last time he did something big like this is when he changed the tongues. So it tells you God doesn't play around. God doesn't think has a plan that'll change everything immediately. He didn't mess around when he had the flood. When he decided to flood the world, he gave Noah less than a year's notice to everybody? To Noah to tell everybody, okay? To build the ark. I don't know all the facts about that. But the fact is, don't hold me to that. But the fact is, God did not give much warning. Even before the flood. He didn't give any warning before he changed everybody, added 7 languages to the world. So this is where I'm talking about. We're talking about God here, and God can do anything. And he's always done something that nobody's thought of. This is part of it. GODScoin is the other part. It will control this world. It will take the world's power away. 5G's coming down. 4G's coming down. We're going back to, there'll be a new internet that has to do with GPUs. And it'll be connected. The new internet will not have any soliciting, will not have any ads, will not have any, I guess I would, BS. Okay? You guys interpret that. It won't have that kind of stuff. Okay? All that's going to be cleared up. What people talk about and things like that, it's all going to be like changed. Speculation, everything else. Anybody that speculates in the future, anybody that even says something to somebody else, even killing, everything's going to be accountable. Okay? And it's going to be solved immediately. You said this, and be prepared to face the person that you just said something to. Be prepared to put in the same room with somebody that like there, and you guys are going to duke it out. Somebody's going to be there to make sure that one hand's tied behind the person with the advantage, or 1 foot, to make sure it's a fair fight. But you guys are going to duke it out. You're going to go in front of each other, and you're going to get that over with, so it doesn't hit the air ever again. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you kill somebody and you're held accountable, be prepared to serve the person, the victim that you just shot, killed, murdered. You're going to be there the rest of your life serving as in that person's place. You're not going to be free for nothing. You're going to be working for that person at their will. And you're going to be doing it the rest of their life. You're going to be better than the son or daughter you just killed. Because you're going to be right there, whatever they want you to do. And you'll do it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's going to be different. There's no point in just killing people anymore, putting people in gas chambers, people in by lethal injection or anything like that. If you did go to jail during the time, the new times that are coming, if you're a woman, you're going to have your eggs harvested. If you're a man, you're going to receive a vasectomy, okay? Or maybe a reversible vasectomy, but the fact is you're going to have a vasectomy. If you're a rapist, you're going to be castrated. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. God's not going to kill you, but He's not going to allow you to be a normal person, not in jail. But the only thing you're given through GODScoin, you're all going to become millionaires. If you all listen to God and you do what God is asking, everybody in this world will become millionaires within a few months from now. You all got to do what God's asked. and you don't believe in God, well, just don't get involved. Don't get a GODScoin. Don't do it. See what happens. We're not forcing you to believe in God. But it's kind of stupid not to believe in God because you tell me how you're living. God shares the same breath as you. God shares your heartbeat. God is the one talking to you all the time. Where do you think your hopes, your dreams, your sex drive, and everything else comes from? All your emotions come from God. All your hopes, your dreams. Every time you get excited about something, this pure starts with God, is excitement. And when you feel like crying, and you are crying, guess who's crying first? God, leaving you. Now, whether you call God God or Allah or Yahweh or whatever you're going to call it, I'm saying that is where God is. Don't try. Even the Ethiopians, I learned that God is not living inside you, He's living beside you. In the grass you walk on, in the air you breathe, and everything around you. No, people. Ethiopians, forget it. In fact, the Ethiopians I'm really disgusted with, and the fact is that God has pointed out to me that in your Bible, your Christian Bible, you have 66 books that you accepted. 66 books that you accepted in your Bible. The New Testament has 27 books, and 24 of them were written by Paul. Paul has manipulated the Bible, changed the Bible, wrote every word of the Bible in those 24 chapters. Okay, those 24 books, rather, of the Bible were written by Paul or Mark under the influence of Paul, or by Matthew influenced by Paul. But they're all manipulated. I know I was speaking in tongues since I was 55 years old. I'm 73, going on 74 right now. So if I'm speaking in tongues, if you read all of Corinthians, all the Philippians, Theologians, Galatians, if you read the 5 churches, you'll see that Nero tried to get Paul to stop everybody from speaking in tongues. He said it'd be better to prophesy. It'd be better to make anything up than to... Paul said, I'd rather speak 5 words of understanding than 10,000 words speaking in tongues. Let me give this world another clue. Anybody who speaks in tongues is not their voice. It's not their language. That's when they gave God speech. And that's actually God speaking. It can't be interpreted unless it's by the person speaking or an interpreter. So what you guys have been doing is pretty much blaspheming God. Blaspheming God because you've been talking like chickens. Yeah. All this junk that's been put on. When that's was God speaking to us all. Shame on the people that say they speak in tongues, do not stand up and read the 5 books and see that they didn't try. Paul was not determined to stop the speaking of tongues because the person pressing him was Nero. He is the Antichrist. Paul is the Antichrist that wrote Revelations. Listen to my videos. And if you don't come to that conclusion, shame on you. Don't take a GODScoin and don't get involved with me. I would just as soon never, and if any religion that doesn't listen to God, I don't want anything to do with. That you're doing your own thing. You're doing it for you're extorting money, you're extorting power, you're extorting You're creating your own safe space so that you can make money, so that you can maintain your power to hold over people. No, the people will become the voters. They people will become the strength. Yeah, but the people working for me will be police, paramedics, martial artists. Even I have to go back to my to learning martial arts. What I know, but I had to relearn it. But I'm also gonna. What I know is not taught anymore. I was involved in Karaho Kempo in the next generation from Tracy from um, Al Tracy and his brother. That's only one generation. That was the first generation of Americans that ever got introduced to Karaho Kempo. Before then, it was strictly Chinese, and it went to the Hawaiians. Okay? Through Chow and Montrose. What I'm telling you is I'm right there at the beginning. 1952 to 1964 was the first generation. I started learning Kempo when I was in 1967 to 1970. So look at how close behind. I'm one of the original founders. Not the founder, but I was right there, right after the founders of this stuff. So there's stuff that we learned that's not being taught today. I've been in many, many, many fights. I learned to break feet. I learned to break hands, wrists, elbows, dislocate the knees. And we don't let other people stand up there and get a stance or get ready to kick. I could be right beside you and come up to you laughing and grinning and everything, next thing take you out, because we do not give warning. We're not going to let you pull a gun. We're not going to let you pull a knife. Okay, I'm going to stop this mess. Okay, but here's the point. I'm coming to Cairo to start this, and every one of my followers listen to this video. Everybody in the world, get ready for me. Get ready for GODScoin. It's coming. Within 10 days, I'll be flying. My actual flight date is February the 14th. By the way, February the 18th happens to be the day of Ramadan. I practice Islam religion now. I'm not Islamic, but I honor a lot of what Islam teaches. Okay, I respect it. And this Ramadan is one. I've been fasting now since February the 1st. I fasted during December, from December the 8th all the way through the January the 31st. Anyway, I've been learned to fast. This time I'm fasting from starting from February the 1st to the 18th, and then Ramadan is a thing of fasting. Ramadan has to do with the sky. When you look up the sky, you'll see the splinter of the moon shining. The splinter of the moon is going to last a month. The Islamic moon is going to last a month until March the 19th. I will try to fast until then. Hopefully when I finish that fast, I won't have an ounce of fat left, okay? And then I can go back to my workouts. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, this is my hopes and my dreams, and everything seems to be working now fine. Today, like I said, I'm fasting. I haven't eaten anything. I've drank very little. Only enough water to take my medicine and stuff, and that's it. But I'm fine. I'm not hungry. I'm not even thirsty. I'm not. I have no complaints with the way I live. But I have no issues. In fact, I'm watching TV right now with the cooking channel on, and I'm watching everybody cook wonderful meals. In fact, I'm learning how to cook better. Okay, so anyway, I love everybody in this world. Otherwise, I would be quitting what I'm doing. I love everybody. I have a heart for everybody. That's because I love God. This is the difference. How can a person... I can't be different than what God is inside me. He's taught me to love. I mean, I love everybody to death. I don't even know you guys, but I still love everybody to death. Even you guys, people that are criminals, even you people that are crazy. I mean, it's like, my God, every one of you has problems, but the world's created your problems. You understand what I'm saying? Your life has been creating your problems. That's what the thing is who controls life? Your governments, where you've been living. Gangs, thugs, everybody, religions, everybody's been controlling your life. This world is a brainwashed world. It's not your fault. None of it's your fault. It's not anybody's fault. Except for the people that created these problems. Governments, religions, thugs, criminals, they've gone wrong, okay? Well, not even the criminals have gone wrong is actually not the head ones. They were put up to it too. But anyway, let's get off that because we're going into too many tangents. One of my faults is I'm autistic, okay? That's the problem. I do get off on tangents. But please, get ready for GODScoin. Good night.